As coast-to-coast chaos escalates, the big weekend show hit the streets to gauge the public's feelings on the riots.
What's your general reactions on what's going on?
People care more about destruction of property than they do human lives, and I think it's a morality question.
It is really sad to see small businesses being attacked and property being destroyed for no reason.
As soon as you start attacking and throwing Molotov cocktails and setting fires to police cars, you've crossed the line, way over the line, and you deserve to be prosecuted and arrested.
We're from California.
What do you think Governor Newsom could have done instead?
Close the border, not be sanctuary city.
Do you think the administration was right by sending in the National Guard and now the Marines?
If Gavin Newsom's not going to do his job, someone has to, and that's what President Trump did. He stepped up to the plate and did his job.
We can't keep letting it go. We have to actually take action, and I'm really glad Trump actually took action.
They didn't need the guards. They should have waited. They're just creating more violence.
Do you think this is similar to the BLM riots and protests that we saw in 2020?
Oh, absolutely.
The similarities are kind of just like the targeting of just different ethnicities and kind of just, the blatant violence.
I don't think that it's been violent I've heard there's been a couple of isolated incidents, but I don't think it's to rise to the level of the BLM protests.
The reason this is all happening now is because no one took action then, and they let Portland and Seattle and all that burn to the ground. Until we stop them from doing that kind of stuff, they're going to keep doing it.
So who exactly is behind the anti-ICE protests? Well, over in Los Angeles, the riots are being supported by activist group Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights of LA. Before the riots erupted, they held a rally to fire up the protesters.
Because an attack on one of us is an attack on all of us. And Los Angeles does not back down for that kind of fight.
What's going to change this is organizing, and not just any type of organizing, militant organizing. We need the people out on the streets.
When immigrants are under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back.
And it turns out that they are taxpayer funded. Between 2021 and 2024, the group received at least $700,000 from DHS grants, on top of nearly $8 million from the state of California. There's also the Party for Socialism and Liberation aiding in the LA mayhem. They're funded by a man with ties to communist China. And now Congress wants to get to the bottom of this.
They're about as authentic as AstroTurf. They are bought and paid for flash mobs. And I want to know who's doing the buying and the paying. That's why today I've launched an investigation. We've all seen the videos of vans driving up, handing out gas masks right before somebody blows up a car. It's time we found out, where's the money coming from? Who's really behind this?
The executive director of one of the activist groups, Angelica Sales, responded to Senator Hawley. Listen.
They're coming to the organizations by then, I would say, just saying the most vicious of lies of who we are and what we do. Yes, we have received a letter from Senator Josh Hawley.
Shame on it.
But what I want you to know is that's not going to deter us.
But Griff, the way I see it, or at least the question that I have now, seeing this investigation and the $8 million or so that they're receiving, when they're advocating for what sounds like open borders and lawless immigration in the United States, are they doing that because they believe that's the way our country should go in that direction, or are they just seeing dollar signs and they know the more illegal immigration they have, the more money they'll be able to get off of the taxpayer?
The old saying holds true, follow the money. And let me just talk about the Party for Socialism and Liberation, because that is being funded. So Jody Evans is one of the two leaders with Medea Benjamin that started Code Pink. I first started in the early 2000s covering Code Pink that was born in the anti-Iraq war protests in Washington. They're running around in pink. Now we see him in the halls of Congress every day. Medea and Jody are there. Jody's husband, a billionaire named Neville Singman, has given millions. He has ties because of a software company that he sold to become a billionaire to the Communist Party. into a whole international ring. And so clearly there is international influence. It's funding discontent. And along the way, in the 2 decades since Code Pink and the PSL have been sort of carrying out their activities, they have learned how to do this and do it well. And when Senator Hawley's talking about let's follow the money, let's lay it out, it's going to be fascinating because Code Pink's there every day, and that's part of the PSL. But the PSL, you saw in that clip we played out in California, there was a PSL guy in that red shirt talking among the speakers there. And so these groups have found each other. They know, you're more powerful in numbers. And I think you're seeing the most vitriol in Los Angeles and California because that is where the largest conglomerate of these loosely associated groups. Unclear how much they're coordinating, but obviously there's coordinated money driving it.
Taylor, it sounds like a good case for Doge.
I know. Right? I literally wrote on my pages, I was taking notes, Doge, go in and find them and defund this. And I laughed when you were talking because the irony is not lost on me that the billionaire who has ties to the Party for Socialism. Do we understand that in socialism you're not allowed to have billionaires? These people are so crazy that they somehow think that if you're a billionaire but then you're rooting for socialism, it doesn't line up.
I have a quick point. The Coalition for Human Immigrant Rights of LA. That doublespeak. Who's immigrant? What immigrants? Illegal immigrants? Whose rights? Why should Senator Josh Hawley not want to investigate this, especially with ties to China? He doth protest too much, I think.
Oh, good point. Well, let's dive into the other protests that rocked the country yesterday. Watch this.
Not the way that I think that the United States should be going through.
This is what democracy looks like. They got their C's, chaos, confusion, corruption, and cronyism, and we got ours. The courts, the court of public opinion, the Congress, and the courage of this community.
Well, according to organizers of these protests, the movement rejects authoritarianism and billionaires funding politics. But one of the main organizations behind these protests, it's called Indivisible. It has received funding from a group backed by left-wing billionaire George Soros. Indivisible was also behind the Tesla protests and the chaos that we saw at GOP town halls. That chaos really couldn't be understated. It caused a lot of lawmakers who wanted to hold town halls to actually have to shut them down because they knew they were just going to be overrun with a lot of craziness. But when we know who is funding or who is motivating, kind of stirring the pot here, Indivisible, and we know the history that they have with Taylor just recently targeting the Tesla dealerships. How can anyone take them seriously? Why are people still turning out across the country?
Well, I love that you said that. And I mean this with all due respect. Can anyone take anyone seriously when that woman was crying, sobbing on air? And this comes back to my point where I have a God and I don't worship politics. So when my candidate loses, I still have a deep faith that my family's going to be okay and that this country is going to be okay. But on the left, they don't believe in God. Most of them don't. So when their candidate loses, their God is their candidate, they fall apart and they're in tears. And that's why I can't understand the hysteria about how she thinks this country is so horrible. She's in tears.
And I think it's kind of ironic there that we see Randi Weingarten, who is the president of one of the largest teachers unions in the country, Griff. When she's talking about how we have to push back and turn this country around or whatever it is that she's screaming about up there, she's responsible for the deterioration of our public schools in this nation. She led the charge to keep them closed for so long. It's amazing to me sometimes that she still has a pedestal and an audience that wants to listen to her.
Well, she may not for very long, Lydia, because obviously at the Department of Education, you are seeing Linda McMahon really try and turn things around, perhaps more so than any other department other than maybe HHS. You're seeing a lot of change, and Randi Weingarten has gotten accustomed for decades of not being challenged. I do want to just point to the Tesla thing, though, and that is I think there's a conundrum now for liberals that went out and bought the Tesla EVs that they demanded Elon Musk make. Then they set them on fire because they hated the guy that gave them those cars. And then now, the bromance broke up, so they were kind of cheering dad, and now we don't know where it is. So they don't know whether to set their Teslas on fire or whether to take it to the car wash, clean it up, and drive it around in pride.
And we heard Governor Walz not long ago talking about he was so happy to see the Tesla stock going down in the midst of some of that fighting, right? And little did he know, or maybe he did know, and it just reveals how little he understands about finance, Dr. Siegel. But his Minnesota pension system is heavily invested in the Tesla stock. So for Elon Musk to lose and Tesla to lose because, these left-wing activist groups are going after the company, therefore his own state is losing. It just shows how little that leader over there knows.
I know who knows about finances. It's you and Taylor. That's who knows about finances, not that governor. And I can't get past him using Gestapo imagery, by the way. But you know what I'm really impressed with this panel? We're not against dissent. We're not against protest. We're against hypocrisy. We want to know who's funding this. We want to know who's infiltrating it. Randy Weingarten was on behalf of the teachers, not the students, and that's why the schools were closed.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.